Today we've got some absolutely huge Destiny 2 information as all 9 of the brand new supers coming with the Forsaken expansion were revealed. Not only the supers, but the abilities and perks associated with them. So, let's get started. What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we are going to be showcasing the information on all 9 of the new Forsaken supers. So, each of the 9 different subclasses available in-game right now are all going to get what seems to be a brand new attunement, a brand new code, which is a set of perks which contains one of these new supers. So you can choose these perks and a new super, or stick with the traditional supers already in-game. And that means that today, not only are we detailing the brand new supers, but we're also talking about the new melee abilities, perks, and so on that come with choosing those attunements. So, just before we get started, guys, if you're looking for some amazing gaming headphones, including the ones I personally use, the A40s, check the link in the description down below because I've partnered with ASTRO. That code will save you some money and help me out. That's the definition of a win-win right there. Alright, let's get started here with the Titan. First off, with the one we already kind of know because it was playable at the E3 Gambit event, the Striker Titan's Code of the Missile. So firstly, while airborne, melee to slam into the ground like a bunker buster and gain super energy for your trouble. So that is the brand new melee ability that I've been talking about. Like when I was playing, it was very jarring, I would say, that you would be trying to perform a shoulder charge, but instead you would do a mini death from above slam onto the ground. Well, that's what that is. Now, another perk associated with this code is that if you pick up ammo while sliding, you automatically reload your equipped weapon and increase weapon damage for a short time. That seems really good for a very aggressive in-your-face class, and that could actually be pretty deadly in both PvP and PvE. Moving on from there, the actual super is Thundercrash, and it sends you hurtling great distances like a missile to hit a targeted area like a meteor strike. So that's pretty sweet, and that perk where sliding over ammo gives you more weapon damage, that could be so interesting. But moving on from there, let's talk about the Sentinel Titan, and it's getting the Code of the Commander. So firstly, for your new melee ability, melees cause explosions, but all void ability damage also attaches a void detonator, and any subsequent damage causes the detonator to go off and attach detonators to enemies caught in the explosion. So it seems like you can kind of set up a massive wipe of all of the adds around you by meleeing that one guy, getting the detonator, using void damage, and then it explodes and spreads the detonators, which are also going to explode, and so on. That could result in some pretty crazy scenarios. Moving on from there, the next perk is that grenade energy partially recharges for you and nearby allies when detonators trigger. Okay, if it's a significant recharge, it's really going to be worth causing these void detonations for sure, because getting more grenades not only for yourself but all nearby allies, like that is a huge boon. Lastly, we have the super Banner Shield. Can still be used for offense like normal, but holding guard creates a barrier wall of light that absorbs enemy attacks but allows ally attacks to pass through. Whoa. So essentially you create this massive wall of light and you are completely protected, so it's kind of like a bubble, kind of like a Ward of Dawn, but your ally attacks go through. That is insane. Normally we don't see somewhat of a defensive super like this in PvP unless people are kind of messing around. Of course, some people can be good with it, like the Ward of Dawn, like the Defender Titan in Destiny 1, but the fact that your ally attacks go through is going to be absurd for any sort of PvP engagement, not to mention PvE. You can sit there and tank boss damage while all of your allies just absolutely go ham with sniper rifles, presumably maybe rockets if it lets those through, but sniper rifles for sure, auto rifles, all of that stuff, linear fusion rifles. That's going to be really great for DPSing high level bosses in PvE as well. So definitely watch out for the new Sentinel Titan Super. That seems really, really good. Moving on from there, for the Sunbreaker, we have the Code of the Devastator. The new melee ability is that you throw your hammer with the melee button, but it remains in the world. Risk retrieving it where it fell to fully recharge your melee ability and trigger health regen. What the heck? Is this a tomahawk from Black Ops? Like, that is absolutely crazy. You have a ranged melee attack like a Gunslinger Hunter's throwing knives, but you're actually throwing a physical hammer that you can go and get to recharge your melee and give you health regen. That sounds crazy. Like, there's nothing even close to being like that in Destiny 2 right now. I cannot wait to try that out. Next up, we have the more solar ability kills you get, the higher your damage, up to 3 times. Oh, what? I assume when it's talking about damage, it's going to apply to solar ability damage. So if you get a bunch of kills with your melee, like if you throw it, you get a melee kill with your throwing Thor hammer, which is fire, you're going to then do more damage, double the damage for your grenade. Then if you get a bunch of kills with that, you're going to activate your super and get way more damage for that super. But I don't think it just applies to normal damage. It very well may, based on how it's worded, but regardless of either it applying just to solar abilities or it applying to overall damage, that seems like a very powerful ability. And moving on from there, the super is Siege Hammer. Creates a flaming maul that hits like an earthquake and leaves behind flame tornadoes. So if you thought that the Titan wasn't awesome enough, it now creates flame tornadoes. Those are 2 words that I never thought I'd be saying, but that are incredibly awesome. So definitely these 3 new supers sound very powerful. We're going to have to see how they really place in-game. Interestingly, notice that all of them have had 3 perks. A new melee ability, another overall ability, and the super ability. Whereas the other attunements have 4 perks. Will there be a 4th perk coming when these supers are released for Forsaken, or will they kind of balance out? They're a little bit more powerful, it sounds like, but they lack that extra perk, so that balances the power with the original supers. We're really going to have to wait and see, but it's time to move on to a different class here with the Warlock. So, first off, the one that we've kind of already seen for the Dawnblade is the Attunement of Grace. First off, for the melee ability, melee attacks burn bad guys, but empower allies. Wow, that seems actually really sweet and a really great ability for a support super, being able to punch your ally and start, health regen and so on for that guy. That is really, really awesome. Moving on from there, another ability is that you can transform your grenade by holding the grenade button into a blessing, a projectile that heals allies and drops retrievable overshield orbs. That is also insane. So you can use your grenades in a support role and actually, again, heal allies and give them overshields potentially. This is really sounding like a true support super that basically we haven't really seen in Destiny at all up to this point, except maybe Defender Titan in D1. That's the closest we're getting, and this is already way ahead of that. But we still have the super. It's called Well of Radiance. Slams your solar sword into the ground, creating a wide radius area that rapidly heals and empowers your friends. Any ability that heals or empowers helps regen your non-super abilities. Wow, so again, true support subclass all of its abilities, its grenades potentially, its melee abilities, and its super are all meant to help support, heal your allies. That's absolutely fantastic. This could be really good, even in a PvP role. If you need that type of person, you have a really good player playing this class, he could do some huge work because your team is staying alive way longer and way easier than the enemy team. But of course, in PvE, this is also going to be fantastic. I can think of so many damage phases where the Well of Radiance would be incredibly useful. So can't wait to try this guy out. But moving on from there, we have the new super, or a new attunement I should say, for the Voidwalker. It's called Attunement of Fusion. A new Atomic Breach melee ability creates a void explosion at range, while holding the grenade button down creates a short-range area explosion supernova. So, a brand new melee ability that seems to be focused on ad clearing. In addition, we have a brand new perk where any void ability kills now heal you and grant ability energy. Now, this is not as good as Devour, where once you get it started, any kills keep regenerating it and you go back to full health right away, but still this is going to add a big degree of survivability to this new subclass, or I'm saying new subclass, but essentially new super, new attunement, that thing. Moving on, we have said new super called Nova Warp. Empowers you with trans-dimensional hopping abilities, letting you repeatedly teleport short distances and then erupt in a burst of energy. So, it seems to be that you activate your super and you can basically blink, but kind of better than blink, around to get to the perfect position, and then you kind of Titan Slam, but a void version of that. You send out a big area of effect that kills or damages anything within. That sounds like pretty decent for PvE if it does enough damage. It's another like ad clearing super, but in PvP this could be very, very deadly. I think that's where it's going to see the most play. Moving on from there, the new super for the Stormcaller Warlock is Attunement of Control. Firstly, the new melee is that you tap the melee button to fling out a long-distance electricity ball that eventually detonates and flings a lightning bolt straight downward. What? Okay, so basically your melee, if you thought Warlock's melee was long distance enough, now you have this electricity ball that just, I think it was just fly out straight. And if you actually hit someone with it, I'm sure it's going to do some decent damage, but it's also going to kind of detonate itself after a little while and send that lightning bolt straight downward. That's again going to damage probably enemies in a certain radius around it. So that's really, really interesting. And just like the Sunbreaker Titan, this is very different than anything we've seen in Destiny right now. Now we've got a brand new perk as well. Arc kills sometimes create ionic traces, a spark of raw arc energy that travels across the ground towards you, which can be collected to recharge abilities. So, built-in recharging capabilities where if you're getting kills with your grenades, with your melee, you're potentially creating those ionic traces that are recharging those things even more, allowing you to get even more kills with them. Love the synergy there. Moving on, we have the new super, Chaos Reach. Fires a long-range blue beam of intense and focused damage dealing, which can be deactivated early to save energy. So, right here, this screams PvE. For damaging bosses, I mean, you're shooting a beam right at the boss, and I'm sure it's going to be doing pretty decent DPS. Like, let's hope it does. And that sounds fantastic, but of course you can also use it to take down, let's say, a mid-tier enemy, a Cabal Centurion with yellow health that you need to take down. You can take down that guy, but then cancel it right after at maybe the halfway mark to save that super energy for that boss encounter. That seems really, really useful because right now if you're playing a super, I'm thinking the Gunslinger Hunter, that's very good against bosses, you tend to save your energy all the way to the boss fight. This is going to let you be a lot more liberal with your super ability usage and still have that super energy for that boss fight. Sounds fantastic. Can't wait to try it out. Now, moving on from there, we have the Hunter, and the first one we're going over is the new Nightstalker Super, the Way of the Wraith. So, for a brand new melee ability, your melee smoke bomb heavily damages and slows those in its path. So, kind of a different version of the smoke bomb, possibly. Moving on from there, a new perk. Nail the perfect precision kill against a foe to vanish and gain true sight. Whoa, hold on. If you get a precision kill with this new attunement, with this new Way of the Wraith, you will potentially go invisible. That seems absurdly powerful. Oh my goodness. Every time you get a precision kill, you go invisible. What the heck? That's going to be insane. Moving on to the super, Spectral Blades. Drops you into a veil of shadows to slip behind foes and stab them before they know you're even there. It's the Void version of Blade Dancer from Destiny 1. Moving on from there, for the Gunslinger, we have Way of 1,000 Cuts. Firstly, for melee abilities, Knife Trick melees fling out a fan of burning blades. So that sounds pretty sweet, and if it's truly a fan, hopefully you can hit multiple enemies at the same exact time. And in addition to that, in turn, killing burning enemies recharges your Knife Trick, and burning enemies also recharges your dodge. That sounds pretty sweet. The super is Blade Barrage. Doubles down on your knife skills to expel a volley of explosive knives. That sounds very, very sweet, and very much sounds like another area of effect like ad clearing super, but for the Gunslinger Hunter, which is basically the opposite of what the Golden Gun Super does. Moving on from there, and lastly, we have the Arcstrider's Way of the Current. The melee ability is slide before a melee to unleash a staff-powered uppercut, and any melee hits increase your reload speed. So, just throw in a slide, you're probably going to be doing much more damage than a traditional melee. That's pretty sweet. You also have a new perk where all your arc abilities electrify your enemies, and subsequent melee strikes disorient them and refuel your abilities. That's pretty awesome. So, the new kind of perk, the new super, is that you can use your staff super like normal if desired, but Whirlwind Guard, which is the new super you can activate, means that you can guard by spinning your staff, reflecting back projectiles, and tripling your staff's damage afterwards. So, maybe not as flashy as a totally new super, but that's a very, very awesome ability. And Whirlwind Guard, just reflecting projectiles, like even in PvE, are you going to be able to Whirlwind Guard on Spire of Stars against the missile volley from the boss and just completely reflect all of those, damage him back? Like, is that how it's going to work? Because if it is, that sounds absurdly powerful. And then right after that, you get triple the damage. Like, this sounds like a very powerful ability to add to an already powerful subclass. And guys, that is it. All of the information we have so far on all 9 of the brand new supers coming in Forsaken. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.